to my YouTube channel Learning Point. This is Palak Jain and today we are going to understand about Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. Let's understand what is gratuity. Gratuity is a kind of financial benefit that the employer gives to the employee on the ground of the period of service rendered. So gratuity क्या है? It's a financial benefit जो employer देता है employee को on the ground of period of service rendered. Gratuity is a lump sum amount that an employer pays to his or her employees as a token of appreciation or thanks at the time of retirement, resignation, dismissal, except under specified circumstances. So gratuity is a lump sum amount. It's a one-time payment that employer pays to his or her employees. What is Payment of Gratuity Act 1972? Gratuity Act एक इंडियन लॉ है जिसमें कंपनीज पे करती हैं वन टाइम ग्रेचुटी टू रिटायरिंग एम्प्लॉयज़ या तो फिर ऐसे एम्प्लॉयज़ जो रिज़ाइन करते हैं आफ्टर मिनिमम 5 years ऑफ सर्विस, तो उनको वो ग्रेचुटी पे करते हैं. द लॉ अप्लाइज टू ऑल द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैविंग 10 or more employees. तो ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जिसमें 10 या 10 से ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं इन प्रेसीडिंग 12 months, उसमें ये लॉ अप्लाई होता है. इट एक्सटेंड्स टू होल ऑफ इंडिया प्रोवाइडेड दैट इन सो फार एज इट रिलेट्स टू द प्लांटेशन एंड पोर्ट्स इट शैल नॉट एक्सटेंड टू द स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. पेमेंट ऑफ ग्रेचुटी एक्ट इज एप्लीकेबल इन होल ऑफ इंडिया except plantation and ports of Jammu and Kashmir. Who is liable to pay gratuity? An organization with a workforce of 10 or more persons are employed or were employed or any day of the previous 12 months is liable to pay gratuity under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. Organization with a workforce of 10 or more persons in preceding 12 months is liable to pay gratuity. So Payment of Gratuity Act covers factories, mines, oil fields, plantation, ports and railways, shops and establishment with at least 10 employees and more, government organizations and private sector firms. Even if an establishment reduces its workforce below 10 employees, it will be covered under the Act once it has previously crossed the threshold. अगर कोई एस्टैब्लिशमेंट अपना वर्कफोर्स रिड्यूस करती है below 10 employees, then also it will be covered under the Act because previously it has crossed the threshold in preceding 12 months. Now we'll understand the salient features. The first one is applicability. The Act applies to the organization having 10 or more workers. So, Gratuity Act कहाँ apply होता है? Organizations where 10 or more workers were employed in preceding 12 months. Continuous service. So this is another term. Employees must have continuous service of 5 years except in the case of death or disability. तो employee को gratuity कब मिलेगी? जब उसने 5 साल की कंटिन्यूस सर्विस दी है किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, एक्सेप्ट इन द केस ऑफ डेथ और डिसेबिलिटी. अगर एम्प्लॉय की डेथ हो जाती है या वो डिसेबल हो जाता है, देन ही इज लायबल टू रिसीव ग्रेचुटी इवन इफ ही हैज नॉट कंप्लीटेड 5 years ऑफ सर्विस. लिमिट. द प्रेजेंट ग्रेचुटी लिमिट इज फिक्स्ड एट ₹20 lakhs. पेमेंट डेट. Gratuity shall be paid within 30 days from the date of cessation of employment. This recovery, gratuity failed to be paid within a stipulated time scale, then the employer is liable to pay interest on such delayed gratuity. अगर employer एक specified time period में gratuity pay नहीं कर पाता है, then he is liable to pay interest on such delayed gratuity. Controlling authority. The controlling authority shall be appointed by the appropriate government for the proper administration of this act. The government may also appoint different controlling authorities for different areas. Controlling authority को appoint किया जाता है by the appropriate government for the proper administration of this act. Maternity leave as a part of service. As per the latest amendments, maternity leave is recognized as service continuity by the employer. If a woman takes maternity leave, then it is recognized as a service continuity by the employer. Gratuity Act 1972 Eligibility. An employee, contractual worker or temporary individual has to work for at least 5 continuous years to be eligible for gratuity. So किसी भी एम्प्लॉय को कम से कम 5 साल काम करना पड़ेगा तभी वो एलिजिबल होगा टू रिसीव ग्रेच्युटी. This also includes services that is interrupted due to leave, accident, sickness, lockout, strike, layoff, termination of work not caused by the employee and absence from duty without leave. जो 5 years की continuous service होती है उसमें interrupted leaves भी होती हैं that are caused due to accident, sickness, lockout, strike, etc. As per the Act, for the calculation of these 5 years, 1 year means 240 working days for those in any institution that does not involve work underground, and for those working below the ground in mines and such other conditions it is 190 working days. In Gratuity Act, 1 year of service means 240 working days. Those who are working in any institution, and for those who are working below the ground, 1 year means 190 working days. Nomination process under the Gratuity Act. Employees must nominate a person to receive gratuity in case of their untimely death. Some key points regarding nomination. अगर किसी एम्प्लॉय की डेथ हो जाती है then he should nominate a person who should receive the gratuity on his behalf. Nomination must be made in writing and submitted to the employer. If the employee has no family at the time of nomination, they may nominate anyone. अगर एम्प्लॉय की कोई फैमिली नहीं है then he can nominate any person. The nomination should be updated if the employees get married or has children. Once he gets married or has children, he should update his nomination. Employees having a family can nominate one or more of its member. Employees जिनकी फैमिली है वो अपने फैमिली में एक या एक से ज़्यादा मेंबर्स को नॉमिनेट कर सकते हैं. When is gratuity paid? Gratuity कब पे की जाती है? As per the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972, gratuity is paid under the following situations: when an employee retires, at the time of retirement, and when he opts for VRS. जब कोई employee voluntarily retire होता है after completion of 5 years of service, we can pay gratuity. When he expires, when employee becomes disabled due to an accident or disease, when employee resigns, and when employee is terminated or laid off due to retrenchment. Superannuation. So what is superannuation? For example, employee को 40 years of service complete करके retire होना है और अगर उसने 40 years of service complete कर दी है तो जब वो retire होगा that is superannuation. How is gratuity calculated? The calculation of gratuity is based on the employee's last drawn salary and years of service. The formula used is last drawn salary into number of completed years of service into 15 divided by 26. So last drawn salary includes basic plus DA. 15 represents the number of days of salary for each completed years of service, and 26 represents the number of working days in a month. Example: if an employee has worked for 10 years and their last drawn salary is 50,000, the gratuity would be 50,000 into 10 into 15 divided by 26. Thus, employee would receive rupees 2,88,462 as gratuity. Conditions where gratuity can be denied. Although gratuity is a legal right, there are circumstances where an employer can withhold or deny payment. So let's understand what are these circumstances. If an employee is dismissed due to fraud, theft or moral dishonesty, then gratuity can be denied. Employees involved in riots, strikes or violence can be disqualified from receiving gratuity. Employers must follow due legal process before denying gratuity and provide proper justification. So employees can be dismissed if they do some fraud, theft, or moral dishonesty, and if they are involved in some riots, strikes, or violence, then also they can be disqualified from receiving gratuity. Date of payment of gratuity. Gratuity must be paid within 30 days from the date when the gratuity has fallen due. Interest is compounded on the amount due at a prescribed rate with effect from the date due up to actual date of payment. बार employee जब apply करता है to receive gratuity, then the employer has to pay gratuity within 30 days. The employer is liable to provide notice of qualification to the employees and ensure timely payment are made to them. If there is a default under the Act, the employers face penalties or fines. So employer should provide a notice to the employee that he is qualifying for the gratuity and ensure timely payment is made to the employee. And if there is a default from the side of employer, then he has to pay penalties or fines.